Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, me, Nurul Fatih Binti Muslimin, together with my other three friends, which is Nurul Shafika, Zainab, and Deladia, will present about the industrial sector. In this slide, there are 5 components that we will introduce or present, which is first introduction, second is issues or problem, third one is implication, fourth one is suggestion, and the final one is about the conclusion. So now I will present about the introduction for the industrial sector in Malaysia. So we know that starting in 1980s, Malaysia suffered an industrial development through the promotion of heavy industry. It aims to strengthen the country's industrial base and increase people's skill in the field of higher technology. It also aims to speed up the process of industrializations. Government plays a direct role in designing, implementing, funding, and managing heavy industries, as the private sector is not able to bear the expense or risk in handling projects involving not only capital but also only being able to return in time. So the public-private collaboration that resulted in the 1980s and 1990s helped the restructure the corporate climate. A plan for reforming and igniting the economic growth to greater level was established with the collaborations in place. So the plan is founded on a vision and 2020, a document that released in 1990 that encouraged a knowledge-based industrial as a way to enhance the value of the goods with the opportunity for export. So to shift Malaysia's manufacturing toward high-tech and knowledge-based industries, the government has given a top priority to export-oriented business that are greater knowledge-intensive than a production-intensive. So current focus area for Malaysia's manufacturing sector including talent pool and talent pool development, and also industry 4.0, which are reviving many established industry and also opening up a new possibility for other industries.
Hi, my name is Deladia Romanus and I will continue with the issue. Production and supply chains have been disrupted as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. In the months since the epidemic started to spread, goods and commodities in the upstream supply chain have been produced in lesser numbers, and occasionally not at all. The challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic are unprecedented, affecting many equally across sectors and industries. The first challenge faced by the manufacturers during the COVID-19 is it slowed down the manufacturing processes. Due to the COVID-19's high contagiousness, new shop floor protocols and procedures were implemented. Temperature checks and spacing of workers for safety made it more difficult to get individuals onto the floor for their shifts. Additionally, it meant that items, particularly those in the food business, had to be maintained safe. All of these new measures slowed down manufacturing processes and reduced productivity. It is an ongoing problem for plenty of manufacturers. Secondly, challenges faced by the manufacturers during the coronavirus era is employee issue. For instance, employee stability, health, and morale have all been impacted by COVID-19 across all industries. It doesn't only apply to manufacturing. Furlough workers who is suspended or discharged from work are uncertain about their future employment. Those that were able to continue working or stay at his job wondering if they will keep their jobs in the long run. There is currently a lot of uncertainty among the workforce now. For example, employees will have to deal with more employee-related difficulties in 2020 than ever before as a result of this. The first duty is to ensure employee safety on the job, but there are also other problems. In order to take care of sick family members or even for themselves, employees will require longer time off. Low staff morale and managerial mistrust are problems facing businesses that have endured layoffs. People also feel uneasy and terrified for their jobs because they think that management doesn't care. This is particularly accurate if businesses have automated some jobs. In order to re-engage their workforce, many manufacturers find they have work to do. Therefore, to guarantee that employees feel taken care of, valued, and needed, policies will need to be re-examined. Lastly, the next issue faced by the manufacturers is demand has increased significantly. At the other end of the spectrum, consumer packaged products and medical supplies and equipment such as ventilators are experiencing sharp increases in demand. As the seriousness of the epidemic became obvious, demand for supplies like toilet paper and hand sanitizer also increased. The demand for these products is now being fulfilled by manufacturers who work long hours to meet the global demand. Throughout the COVID-19 era, there has been a surge in demand for electronics and consumer packaged goods, which has resulted in shortages, delays, and major price increases. Manufacturers have stepped up production to keep up with the rising demand for ventilators and other personal protection equipment like face masks, which recognized as a critical need. That is all from me. Now I will pass on to the next presenter.
Hi, my name is Nur Shafika binti Mustafa Kamal. I will continue the implication of industrial sector. At 2020, present number of coronavirus cases in Malaysia increasing steadily with the addition of some new cluster almost every week. At the beginning of outbreak, Malaysia successfully controls the pandemic from spreading and increased violently by introducing Movement Control Order (MCO) into this country. The rules in MCO aim to prohibit mass gathering from happening. Thus, many business industry need to shut except for supermarket and certain shop that providing necessities to its residents, including the manufacturing sector. The implication of industrial sector is the downfall of the business industries, including the manufacturing sector, decreased rapidly. During the pandemic, any investment in Malaysia need to be put on hold as no operation manufacturing are allowed to be executed because to reduce the spread of the pandemic. Due to the manufacturing sector not be the main need, so that people had to prioritize what was important first, which the health, safety, and daily needs. This causes Malaysia to suffer losses because of this sector providing a huge amount of the sum to GDP. Next, dangerous failure of export advantage because the company's production stopped to operate and MCO prevention measure cause this industry become a challenging situation with a loss of RM32 billion. This is due by the closing order of the oil sector. The manufacturing sector is closely related to the supply chain. Both are equally important to ensure production efficiency. But when the pandemic hit this world, has caused difficulty in the supply of goods to be delivered and will subsequently result in a shortage of materials such as high raw material probability will occur in the industrial sector. For example, Malaysia's largest supplier in China. At the time, any export activity stopped for a while, especially with China because their state is still under control. As a result, the manufacturing industry could not progress, and this can be said to be one of the biggest issues. With low movement in this industry, they experience a decline in customer demand, and it worsened the country's profit. The last but not least, economic activity slowing down and market demand decreased dramatically. Companies fight to find the best way to manage their cash flow to avoid bankruptcy. manufacturing industry become vulnerable with their limited operation. It is necessary to close the industries to prioritize health and safety issues to avoid the spread of the virus. Even so, Malaysia needs to have its backup plan to avoid this economic destruction. That's all from me. I will pass the next slide with next presenter.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Zainab binti Basir and I will continue with our presentations about the suggestions. Regarding the issues raised and their implications, some recommendations are critical in order to solve the economic problems in this industry sector. This is because if this matter is not taken seriously enough to act quickly and wisely in resolving it, the country and its people will undoubtedly suffer. Firstly, the ministry needs to develop the industrial sector through downstream operations. The final processes in the production and sale of goods where finished products are created and sold to consumers are referred to as downstream operations. The downstream supply chain sector must maintain the supply chain strategy. Sirsita and Glacier Segura 2012 developed a framework for evaluating internal performance in the downstream supply chain. For example, recently, the price of chicken and meat has been quite high. As a result, we can investigate a variety of topics that have resources in our country. This is due to the fact that our country is the world's second largest producer of palm kernel. Our country exported palm kernel cake worth USD 345 million in 2020. If we have such a high production value of palm kernel cake, but we do not use the resources we have, which is the downstream process in our own country, we are wasting our resources. As a result, when we are downstream in our own country, we have also created job opportunities for locals who inevitably have talent, and the low price will also be lower than the current price. As a result, as the price falls, so does the breeders' operating costs. When farmers' operating costs are low, the market price of chicken will be low. Then, when the price of chicken and meat in the market is low, inflation will fall. However, if we do not use the available resources, we will export our raw materials and ultimately lose. So, in order to add value to our economy, we must move downstream. Aside from that, they should financially protect themselves. As we know, the world has experienced the COVID-19 pandemic, which has resulted in some negative effects, especially on the national economy, and economic recessions has also appeared. However, we depend on what happens in countries like the US and China. That is because they make up more than 20% of the total trade combined. According to Liu Chung-hee 2022, if these two countries experience a recession or become unstable, it will affect them, which are technology companies. He also said that the first sector hit by the recession was exports and manufacturing. However, because of price control subsidies, we will not experience the kind of inflation that plagues the United States and the United Kingdom. This is due to the strong export trend. As a result, as Malaysians, we must be proactive in order to protect ourselves financially. Spend wisely, for example, or diversify your income sources if necessary. If we have extra cash, we can look into ways to diversify our investment income. Non-professional investors should consider investing in mutual funds or allocating additional savings to an APF. Fixed deposits are another option, especially given the rising interest rate cycle. Next, customers' needs must be understood. With the release of a product, it is critical to listen to and take feedback from customers. This is due to the fact that customers occasionally expect product updates. Any new product will fail if the needs of the customer are not understood. If the customer truly requires A but the company only produces B, the customer will be lost. It is a failure as a product manufacturer if ego and self-importance overshadow what the customer wants. As a result, it is critical to understand the customer's requirements. Research, experimentation, and testing are critical throughout the development process based on feedback from customer conversations. If this matter is not taken seriously and ignores the needs of the customer, it may result in a decrease in market demand. Last but not least, knowledge and skills of industrial employees and managerial staff are required for the implementation of Industry 4.0. The level of applied manufacturing technologies, which is intelligent machines and devices, autonomous means of transportation, etc. necessitates a highly qualified workforce, the ability to transfer knowledge, teamwork, and an openness to change. Lifelong learning is becoming increasingly important. Manufacturing companies must foster an environment of innovation and learning and change the learning culture, which requires a shift in values and expectations. They should create a learning management system and procedures for evaluating and controlling learning progress and knowledge transfer outcomes. The exchange of knowledge and skills within the network and enterprises can also be critical for the rapid updating. Many processes in enterprise will be automated by Industry 4.0 technologies, allowing for more efficient and learner work teams to be built, but it will still necessitate a completely new approach to talent development staff. According to Ahrens D. Spotchi 2015, employees require specific knowledge and a new skill paradigm as the number of high-complexity workspaces grows significantly. The growing need for comprehensive integration and information transparency, increasing automation of production systems, self-management and decision-making by objects, digital communication, interactive management functions, and staff flexibilization all contribute to the demand for new skills. It was unequivocally confirmed that employees with interdisciplinary knowledge, technical skills, and management abilities are required in the Industry 4.0 environments. This is a fascinating observation that can be especially useful in adapting the employee training system and the educational process for students. That's all from me, and I will pass it to the next presenter. Thank you.
In conclusion, Malaysia's structural shift into high value-added activities is mostly driven by the industrial sector. Since Malaysia started its journey towards industrializations, the manufacturing industry has been the driving force behind the country's economic expansion. Malaysia industrial sector is still essential to the nation's economic development. Despite the uncertainty surrounding the global economy, the nation growth was guaranteed by its contribution to export earnings and employment creations. Production of a more high value added, diversified, and complex product will continue to be prioritized, especially in the catalytic subsector or sub-product of electronic and electric E&E, machinery and equipment M&E, and chemical products, medical equipment, and also aerospace. Some other two highly promising growing subsector will also be targeted. So it become like a journey for Malaysia to move forward to another level towards the development of fully digitalization in the economy for a better future among the younger generation in Malaysia. So that's all for my group. Thank you very much.